All right. Check, 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 check. All right. Great to have everybody here today. For Razorback fans out there, I know this is a tough day. UCA fans, it's a tough day. I don't think, yeah, it's a great day for OBU, I know. So we'll get to that here in just a second. Great to have everybody here. Excited to have everybody here with UAPB. And great to have Chris and Don here. It's going to be a fun program. Just remember our blessings. If your team is the Razorbacks, you know there's always next week. There's always next week. On the show today, we call it Therapy Monday, Rex. And great thing about football coaches is that, you know, if you play bad one Saturday, you hopefully have another Saturday to come back and prove yourself. And I think I'm betting on that happening next Saturday. Want to remind everybody. Oh, yeah, I'm the honorary co-captain. I still have to lose 100 pounds by this Saturday. Think I can do that? 100 pounds. Of course, it doesn't matter anyway. You know, I've been trying to lose weight. It's going to be 23 degrees. So I'm going to be covered up with 9 layers, and it doesn't matter anyway. So till 11 o'clock kickoff, there's going to be 6 people in the stands. I'm going to wave those 6. It's great to be here. And go get that boot. Let's go get that boot. Listen, I'll put on a helmet. I should have had that ready to play today. Dadgum, I should have done that. Do want to thank Cassie over at Hogman's Game Day Superstore. These are the sweatshirts. If you hadn't gotten them, they're very cool. I love them. We also have long sleeve sweatshirts. You know, it's only $25 or $35, but love to have you wearing these. Thank you to Cassie and Steve Jenkins over at Hogman's Game Day Superstore. We'll have them next week with Houston Nuts here as well, as far as Dari Noka also. Gary Underwood, would you come up and lead us in a word of prayer?
So let me ask you guys, the last time LSU went to Fayetteville and it was cold, who won? That's right. That's exactly right. You got to remember that. Now, Rex's OBU is 10-0. My OBU is 1-9. Yeah. I'm rooting for you guys, okay? All right. Absolutely. And one more thing, a piece of good news. The craziness is about to be over. The election is tomorrow, thank God. And we can get back to Camp Lejeune ads on TV. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the goodness that you put in our lives. Lord, the way you take care of us, lead us, guide us, provide us the things that we do not deserve. Lord, thank you for the food today. Bless it. Give us strength to serve you. In your name we pray. Amen.
I mentioned 2 more meetings after this, Houston Nut and Dari Noka. And don't forget, too, we have Joe Theismann that will be speaking to the club in January for our awards banquet. And speaking of UAPB, it was great to have Mark Evans, offensive lineman, that won the Willie Rofe Award last year. And so we love the fact that, yeah, it's worth a round of applause. A very impressive young man. And one of the things I love, guys, about Willie Rofe is Willie's here every year. He wants to represent his award. He wants to meet the winner, both high school and college. So I have a lot of respect for Willie in that area. But also Mark is a very impressive young man, Mark Evans, that is. I want to thank our sponsors real quick. 103.7 The Buzz. We appreciate their support, along with Arkansas Urology for sponsoring the live broadcast. So I want to ask you to mute your phones now. But as you're doing that, tell everybody that they can listen to Don and to Chris today on 103.7 The Buzz live. They can also go to our Facebook page or our YouTube page and hear it as well. Plus, it'll be recorded and posted on our website a little bit later today, too. So thanks to 103.7 The Buzz. Hatcher Agency, Greg Hatcher, our man Popeye. Greg's here, one of the busiest guys on the planet. He's here seeing his boy Lane play every weekend and gets back here for the Touchdown Club. We appreciate him. Missed you last week at the Bush Jones meeting. I'll just tell you, I just noticed you weren't here. You were out of town. All right. But great, appreciate Greg and all his support of the club and the Home of Outrageous Service. Thank you, Greg Hatcher and the Hatcher Agency. War Memorial Stadium, manager Justin Dorsey, Shay Lewis, director of Arkansas Parks, and Stacy Hurst. We love War Memorial. We love what's coming up with the high school state championships. We appreciate their support of the Touchdown Club. I mentioned Arkansas Urology, Scott Davis and Chris Shinup. over a dozen clinics across Arkansas, serving over 100,000 patients. Guys, don't put your checkups off any longer. Please get checked. There's no need to leave the state for excellent care. Arkansas Urology. Pulaski County Farm Bureau, Todd Dennis, Stephen Reichert. Todd, I know that my girlfriend Jessica actually met with you this week to help with some things. He's great to work with. They're great folks. They've been doing it for 80 years in Pulaski County Farm Bureau. Advantage Service Company, Kevin Brooks and his entire team at Advantage Service Company. Now the cold weather's coming in, getting chilly. Make sure you got your heater working. Make sure you got that. I think that's what I need to do. I need to get that checkup because you wake up Saturday morning, Rex, and you need a couple extra blankets because you didn't get your heater checked. But one call does it all. 501 one call. We appreciate Advantage Service Company. Dairy Queen, the Livelies, and Todd Denton, been around 5.5 years, fastest growing restaurant chain in the state. Saw the Clarksville location on my way to Fayetteville. We appreciate Dairy Queen and all they do in the community. North Little Rock opening in 2023 as well. Simmons Bank Arena, I remember Michael Marion barely beat the Auburn Tigers this week, your Mississippi State Bulldogs. Big news on this is today the Razorback basketball tickets went on sale for their game against Bradley, which is December 17th. And according to Michael, they are flying off the shelves, if you will. So even hotter than last year. So if you want tickets for that game, you better tell folks they need to do it now and not put it off. Also, Dwight Yoakam announced today for February 17th. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m., right? So things are happening over at Simmons Bank Arena. We appreciate you guys' support. Appreciate the sympathy that you've given us today with your team to the Razorbacks. Big Red Stores. Don't forget, Fill Up Friday is still going on in November. And if you hadn't seen the latest Roger Scott commercial, it's about deer corn. It's about old deer corn. Everybody needs a deer corn, right? I need that at my place, too. $2 in my backyard, Rex. $2 the other day. But thank you, Big Red Stores, for all the support you guys give. Thank you for what you do in the community. Right, Lindsay and Jennings, great to see you. Judy here, as always, the best lawyer group in Arkansas, in my opinion, from my personal experience. Been around since 1900. They do it right. Did I see a picture of you in high school this weekend? Is that right, Judy? Is that, listen, this is a trained athlete, a collegiate athlete from Arkansas, and so I love the old stuff that you're doing, all the social media stuff you're doing. But appreciate Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings, and they'll take real good care of you. Tell them that we sent you from the Touchdown Club. Crane Automotive, Larry Crane, always great to see the Crane Group here, largest dealer group in Arkansas, 23 locations, 1,000 employees. Crane teams got them. They are Arkansas. Wally Hall and Amanda Copley. Amanda is here every week taking care of our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. We appreciate you, Amanda, and the Democrat Gazette support. Got an outstanding young man we're going to honor today. And what can we say about Simmons Bank? Great to see Tommy May here, of course. And Tommy, we love you to death. You're the best. Also great to have Chris White, Pat Anderson. Chris, you've made probably 80-90% of the meetings this year. What's that? Oh, you hear Chris is here for me. Pat, you too. Couldn't do it without Simmons Bank, and I know everybody with UAPB feels the same, and the community of Pine Bluff, the value of what Simmons Bank has done. They may be worth $27 billion, and they may be in many states now, but they know where their roots are. So let's give Simmons Bank and all of our sponsors a big round of applause. I want to thank everybody here at the Doubletree for taking good care of us. Our Touchdown Club team, Matt Johnson back in the back, M&M Productions, handling all of our live stream and audio and visual needs. Dwayne Duncan taking photos for over a decade now. R.J. Hawk is not here. He's out politicking. He's out politicking with the election tomorrow, so he's not here. But we appreciate them. And, of course, Amber Helms and Tom Sawyer with Vines and Brookshire Agency doing all of our social media. They're doing it via Zoom, but we appreciate their support through social media. Don't forget, at LR Touchdown Club is the Twitter account. Facebook page is LR, and our website is lrtouchdown.com. And our amazing executive director, Debbie Wyman, and all the ladies and guys who set this room up, volunteer each week. Let's give all of them a big round of applause, too. They've been outstanding. All right, it's time for our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week. And how long was the drive over? 2 hours. Another athlete that has driven 2 hours to be here at the Touchdown Club. His name is Jarrell Shepard, and he is a senior. Come on up, Jarrell. He is a senior wide receiver from West Memphis. So 2 weeks ago in a loss to Benton, had a pretty good day receiving, Rex. 16 catches, 317 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Can't do much better than that. Let's give a formal Touchdown Club welcome to our All-Arkansas Preps Player of the Week, Jarrell Shepard. Great to have his folks, Andrea and James. Great to have you guys here. Thank you. He's got two older brothers that are playing for Arkansas Tech and Martin. Is that correct? So the DNA is good. The DNA for being outstanding football is good. And we appreciate y'all taking the time to be over here today. Obviously, you got a fine young man, good grade point average, smart. He doesn't have a girlfriend. Got plenty of time for that, Jarrell. I'm just saying. Rex, I didn't have a girlfriend in high school, didn't have one in college. I was focused. That's what you need to do too, young man. Plenty of time for the other. All right. Sure it will be an interesting weekend recap. Let's give it up for Rex Nelson, everybody.
Thanks, David. My voice is a little bit under the weather this week, and Shane Broadway told me I had to save it for election coverage on television tomorrow night, so it may be a little more subdued than usual. Shane and I were once called the Bruce and Baz of politics. Best compliments we ever got. So I got to save some voice. So here we go, though. Liberty 21, Arkansas 19. I got to be honest, I did not see that coming. K.J. Jefferson, as you know, stopped just short of the goal line on that two-point try with a minute 11 remaining. Arkansas had been favored by 2 touchdowns over a program that has only been in the FBS for 5 seasons. So Liberty goes to 8-1 with its first win ever over a Southeastern Conference team. Arkansas falls to 5-4 despite outgaining the Flames 428 to 315. Jefferson 23 of 37 passing, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had the first 2 interception game of his career. Arkansas came in as the nation's number 6 rushing team, but a season-low 144 yards on the ground. Raheem Rocket Sanders held to just 60 yards. Arkansas only 4 of 16 on third down. Hugh Freeze had lost at Razorback Stadium, you'll well remember, with Ole Miss in 14 and 2016, but not this time, as Arkansas was held without a touchdown in the first half. For the first time this season, Arkansas had 14 negative yardage plays in the game, and the last time Arkansas had lost to an independent was to Memphis way back in 1994. So enough of that. Let's move on. Look to the future. Look to the future. UAPB fell to 36-10 to Grambling on the road. That's our program today, of course, UAPB football. So I'll let our guests cover that. UCA also fell, as David said. What a weekend. 4-5 overall now, 3-1 in the A-Sun, 42-14 loss at Eastern Kentucky, which improves to 6-3 overall and 2-1 in the A-Sun. UCA was without running back Darius Hale, by the way, who was injured his hamstring the previous week in that big win over the University of North Alabama. Now, on to the Great American Conference. Ouachita wraps up its 6th GAC championship with a 40-18 win at Southeastern Oklahoma. Southeastern led 10-0 early in that game and looked like they were driving for another touchdown, but Ouachita fought back to lead 19-18 at the half and then outscored Southeastern 21-0 in the second half. So as Gary said, Ouachita now 10-0, 11 GAC seasons since the conference was formed, and the title, remember there's 6 Arkansas schools and 6 Oklahoma schools. Now here's something good for Arkansas. The title has never been outside of Arkansas in those 6 years. Ouachita has won 6, Henderson has won 3, and Harding has won the other 2. So Arkansas dominating the conference. TJ Cole, who's going to be a 2-time All-American for Ouachita, 143 yards rushing. He rushed for 2 TDs, and he passed for a touchdown this time. Battle of the Ravine week. Henderson goes to 8-2 following a 51-24 win over Gary's Oklahoma Baptist. Quarterback Andrew Edwards, 17 of 20 passing, 268 yards and 2 TDs. He also ran 8 times for 70 yards. Henderson has won 4 straight, so it will be 10-0 Ouachita against 8-2 Henderson at Henderson on Saturday afternoon. Harding also 8-2. Following a 37-29 victory over 3-7 Southwestern Oklahoma. Jalen Spicer, 108 yards rushing for the Bisons. Arkansas Tech evens its record at 5-5, 45-20 win over 1-9 Northwestern Oklahoma. Y'all got somebody to share this with. Gary left. I was going to tell him they had somebody to share the cellar with. They're both 1-9. Devontae Dean carried 20 times, 101 yards, 2 TDs. UAM fell to 3-7, 16-0 loss to 7-3 East Central Oklahoma. That was the 6th consecutive loss for the Boll Weevils. Southern Arkansas and Southern Nazarene are both 4-6 after Nazarene came to Magnolia and escaped with a 49-44 victory over the Mule Riders. Their winning touchdown came with just 7 seconds left in the game. A real heartbreaker for Southern Arkansas. In Division III, in NAIA, Division III gets a little better. Hendricks is 3-6 now after a high-scoring 6-0 win over Rhodes in the Brain Bowl at War Memorial Stadium on Saturday night. Doesn't get any better in NAIA, though. Arkansas Baptist 4-7, a 67-10 loss to Kentucky Wesleyan, and Lyon College 1-8 after a 50-3 loss to Louisiana Christian. All right, on to the SEC. A night to remember. How did you enjoy that second half of LSU Alabama? My goodness, what a game. LSU 32, Alabama 31 in overtime. Jaden Daniels runs for that 25-yard TD in overtime, then finds Mason Taylor for the 2-point conversion to give Brian Kelly his first win ever over Nick Saban. Six second-half lead changes. Alabama lost in Tiger Stadium for the first time in a dozen years. Alabama lost despite Bryce Young passing for 328 yards. So Bama now 7-2, 4-2 in the conference. LSU 7-2 and 5-1 in the conference, headed to Fayetteville. Georgia whips Tennessee 27-13. Big build-up for that game, but it was pretty much all Georgia. Stetson Bennett doesn't do anything but win, does he? He's now 23-3 as the Georgia starting quarterback, 17 of 25 passing. Georgia's 9-0 overall, 6-0 in the conference. Tennessee 8-1 and 4-1. Volunteers came in averaging almost 50 points a game, and they're held to 13. Georgia basically saying, you're not at our level yet, Tennessee. Mississippi State, game that Michael Marion attended, is 7-3 overall, 4-3 in the conference, following a 39-33 win over Auburn, which has now lost 5 straight. Auburn falls to 3-7 and 1-6. South Carolina bowl eligible, 38-27 over Vanderbilt. South Carolina is 6-3 and 3-3. Vanderbilt 3-6 and 0-5 in conference. Gamecocks have now won 14 consecutive years against Vanderbilt. Florida snaps a 2-game losing streak, 41-24 over reeling Texas A&M. Gators are 5-4, 2-4. The Aggies, ranked in the top 10 coming into the season, 3-6 overall, 1-5 in the SEC. Kentucky moves to 6-3, 3-3 in conference, 21-17 over Missouri. So some hope in that battle line rivalry, David. Missouri's 4-5, 2-4 in conference. Missouri had just 76 yards of offense in the first half. So we've got Missouri at Tennessee, Vanderbilt at Kentucky, Alabama at Ole Miss, South Carolina at Florida, Georgia at Mississippi State, and Texas A&M at Auburn. Now, here in the state on Saturday, as David says, it's going to be cool, it's going to be sunny, it's going to be a perfect day for college football. You've got LSU at Arkansas. You've got, as I mentioned, the Battle of the Ravine, the greatest rivalry in small college football, the only college football rivalry in America where the visiting team walks to a road game. 2 o'clock kickoff. This should be on everybody's bucket list to go to at least one. You've also got UMass at ASU, Prairie View's at UAPB, Arkansas Tech's at Harding, and Southern Arkansas is at UAM. So truly no excuses. Games in Fayetteville, Jonesboro, Arkadelphia, Pine Bluff, Searcy, and Monticello. Get out and see a college football game this Saturday, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. A couple things. By the way, too, just an informal poll. How many believe that Arkansas will beat LSU this week? Wow. I'm remembering this. I'm looking around.
That's tough.
Wow. I just found out the Ole Miss or Arkansas game will be at 6 p.m. So Yeah, not 11. So there you go. Before we bring up Don and Chris, do want to introduce a couple special guests. You know, we love it here at the Touchdown Club that we can have. This is just not a Razorback club. You know, we want to support football at all institutions, high school, all the colleges, and great to have UAPB back here again. You know, Arkansas State brought a good group, and UCA did as well. A couple of people I want to mention that are regulars at our club. Jesse Mason, one of the great basketball players of all time at UAPB. Let's give him a round of applause. Jesse Mason, Hall of Famer, Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. And a guy that served on our board, I don't know how many years now, Ronald, that you've served on our board, but a former standout football player for UAPB, one of the top lawyers in this state. He does work that I can't imagine how he does it. And he comes from UAPB royalty, so to speak. His grandfather, Lawrence A. Davis Sr., was president of then Arkansas AM&N College for 30 years. His uncle, Lawrence A. Davis Jr., was chancellor of UAPB from 1991 to 2012. And he's been great to have on our board. Let's give it up for Ronald Davis, everybody. And if some of you old Touchdown Club members remember, Jeff Long came here to speak one time. And I think, who was Arkansas playing? Is it Alcorn State? Alcorn State. Yeah, and so we had questions back then. Ron said, Mr. Long, is there any reason you couldn't play us, UAPB, instead of paying that money to go out of state? And, you know, and it's happened. It happened after his watch, but spurred on by your question, Ronald. But did want to recognize that some other folks. We have so many folks here from UAPB. What I want to do, I want to recognize the UAPB Chancellor, Lawrence Alexander. Will you please stand, Mr. Alexander? Thank you so much for having you here. And there is so if you are connected with UAPB, with the athletic department, education, you name it, there's a lot of you. Please stand and let us recognize you now. Please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. Everybody who's connected with the university. Great to see the gold and black here. It's been a while. Ron, how long has it been? Did we talk? Yeah, he said his coordinator here. Looking forward, what an amazing career, Don, you've had as a coach. And Chris, I was talking with Chris Peterson today, just bragging on you left and right, obviously who you follow. But I want you two guys to come up here real quick. I want you to stand right here so you can see. I have not seen Sully's introduction, so I want you guys to see it. Steve Sully from KTV always does this. And then once we're done with that, we'll set up our chairs. Matt, if you'll go ahead and punch up the intro for our speakers today.
Chris Robinson knows what it feels like to win in a big way at UAPB. 1994, it was Robinson who led the Golden Lions to the NAIA national title game. He accounted for 7 TDs in their semifinal win. In his first year as UAPB athletics director, the Golden Lions made it to the 2021 spring SWAC title game. Interim head coach Don Treadwell has spent 36 years coaching college football. One of his highlights was working at Michigan State 3 times, once coaching his son, the other working with his son on the staff.
I had that privilege to return to the Spartan family, knowing that he was already here. Then I knew that would be something very unique. Now you can enjoy, if you will, not only time spent at the office, you know, brainstorming, having fun together and having your chalk talks, even when we're at home, because it's like a hobby for us, you know, we're able to do that there as well. So it's been really fun.
UAPB hopes Don Treadwell's experience and Chris Robinson's local knowledge will be a winning recipe at UAPB. Please welcome Don Treadwell.
Some interesting video Sully pulled up.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, listen, you still got it, and the coach, you know, people that may not realize you spent time at Michigan State. So I tell you what I want to do. Why don't we, Chris? Why don't you open up with a few words about the UAPB and the athletic department, and Coach will give you a chance, and then after that we'll open up some Q&A.
Okay, thank you, Dave. First, I'd like to call roll. Like, who are you rooting for? UAPB. Who are you rooting for? UAPB. Let's just do roll call real quick. See who's here.
I like it. Yes. We may have to do that every week.
Yes. But first of all, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. We're excited to be here. We look forward to continue to be in here. And I know you said it's been a wild run, but we're here. We're here. We're going to be here. And we're excited about this opportunity to be here. Again, we're excited about things that are taking place in Pine Bluff. Of course, you know, starting out today we host the Lady Razorbacks today at H.O. Clemens Arena in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. It starts at 6 o'clock. Invite everybody to come out.
Sold out, right? Sold 4,000?
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost. So get your tickets quick. It's getting pretty close. So go ahead and get your tickets. But that's just one of the few things that are taking place here at Pine Bluff. Of course, we have some exciting things that are taking place. Of course, football, we're making some things, and Coach Treadwell will get more into that a little bit later. But just across the gamut, we're doing some renovations on campus. If you haven't been on campus, new locker rooms, new facilities, whether football, volleyball. We just got a new court. You come to the basketball game tonight, you'll see that. Very interesting. I'm not going to reveal it right now, but we got the state of Arkansas. It's something very interesting in the state of Arkansas. So come check that out. We have some different sporting events that have taken place that are very unique. We had a young lady that just transferred to the University of Kentucky after she graduated, but the first one in the HBCUs that made it to the national championships for as a triathlon athlete. So she did named Sophia John. So Kentucky came and got her. She did very well. She finished like in the top 10 in the nation. And so those are the type of athletes that are coming out right now. We have 12 teams out of the 14 programs we have. They have a 3.0 GPA or higher. So the overall GPA for the athletic program is a 3.1 GPA. And we're excited about that because, again, we're hearing their students first. And not to mention, you mentioned Mark Evans and what he's doing. He's got all types of accolades, and he's a very humble young man. And he actually just got on the watch list for the Reese's Senior Bowl. And, of course, I'm from Mobile, so excited about his opportunity for that. And we're just excited across the board about all the things that are taking place within athletics. Then I want to revert back one more thing, too. I know they played that clip, and it just brought me back to something this young man said to me, Tommy May. Tommy May was at that game when we played, and we came back and won. Tommy May probably could have got arrested now because he jumped the gate and ran on the field. He's so excited about the game. So we're just excited about all the things that are taking place at Pine Bluff, but we're looking to bring that back. And we're happy that you're here, and we invite everybody to come down if you haven't been on campus.
Did want to say, too, obviously a plug here for Simmons Bank, who is our presenting sponsor, but the role that Simmons Bank has played with UAPB in the athletic department. Yeah,
and they continue to do those things, too. And we're excited about it from Pat Anderson, Chris, and Tommy, of course, has been a long time with us, with Chad and Russell. And we appreciate all the things that everybody's done. I know we just partnered again with women in sports. And we're doing some things to highlight our women's sports right now. We appreciate that. And, of course, we have Golden Lion Stadiums, but Simmons Bank Field. And a very beautiful field that we've done there. And then also some renovations with our baseball program. So we appreciate all that Simmons has done over the years.
Coach, it's funny, people who don't know much about your history, you've been here, done that. I mean, you were Mark D'Antonio, for those that don't know, was a Broyles Award finalist. I don't even remember back then when he was coaching defensive coordinator at Ohio State. So it goes on to Michigan State, where, of course, you remember also Pat Narduzzi won our award. But you were on staff there when Mark D'Antonio had a heart attack, and you took over the team there as well. You might want to just give us sort of a reference point on that and what's happening now with the football team.
Sure. A couple things. Let me say it's certainly a pleasure to be here with you today and certainly have the privilege of representing our very fine university. And I would be remiss if I didn't also let you know that I brought along today my number one recruit, and that is my wife, Lola. So, Lola, could you just maybe...
Where's Lola at? I'm going to tell you what, Lola, I have seen the miles that you have traveled and the stops that he has made along the way. We'll get to that. God bless you. You are an angel.
No doubt about that. Let me just say that. One thing I thought I'd share, so many times, we're looked at as coaches that we have this stern face, especially on game day, and we have this laser focus that we should have. But I think many of you may not know behind the scenes, we do have a little bit of humor that we attempt with our staff and with our players. So I'm going to kick that off a little bit today, and notice I did coin the phrase attempt, just with a little bit of humor to begin this today. So the story goes like this. There was a farmer, and on his farm he had a horse. Now, I'm not going to sing Old MacDonald with you. You guys don't have to join in. More of my age would understand that. But the point is, this gentleman that owned the horse, he was also a very strong man of faith, which we know was a good thing. He read his Bible daily. He often rode his favorite horse, and he would read passages and he would quote scriptures during this time with his horse. So through the course of time, one of the reasons he loved this horse so much is it really picked up on verbal cues. So he decided, you know what, I've been riding this horse and he hears me read scripture daily. He hears me quote scripture. I'm going to use a couple phrases maybe from the Bible to help move this horse forward. So instead of the old-fashioned way of getting on the horse back in the old movie days where you'd get him going by saying, giddy up and here we go. And I know I'm telling my age of the John Wayne days when you used to watch men get on horses. And so he decided, you know what, I'm going to use a phrase in the Bible. And it's found in both the Old and the New Testament. Says, praise the Lord. So every time this farmer rode the horse and he wanted the horse to take off and go fast, he would say, praise the Lord. And certainly that horse kind of, after a short period of time, figured that out, and to the point that he would just say the word praise and the horse would already be taken off. He didn't even get to finish the statement. So needless to say, you have to come to a stop as well when you're riding horses. So instead of saying the old-fashioned whoa and stop, he decided, you know, I'm going to take a biblical character that was of significance. And the one he thought of was in the Old Testament. His name was Moses. And as many of you know, God did great things through Moses. So every time he decided to make the horse stop, he'd say, Moses. And that horse, after a period of time, would get used to, hey, stopping on a dime every time he said that. So as the story goes on, he lived in all this wonderful farm with meadows and green. And right up there was a path that headed up a little bit of a hill that was relatively steep. And it overlooked a cliff. So he thought, you know what, I'm going to take this horse up. We're going to take a ride up to the edge of this cliff and take a look at all the beautiful things God has built and created. And I'm going to let the horse appreciate it like me. So they were riding up very slowly up this path. And at the top of the hill where the cliff is, there's a path that goes to the right and one that goes to the left. And then, of course, there's the steep cliff right there. So about 100 yards out, most of us can relate to that in football, right? 100 yards. About 100 yards out, as they're riding up, they both look, the horse and the farmer that's on him, and to their left, they see a snake. Okay, and many of you know horses spook pretty easily. And of course, this snake introduced himself by rattling his tail. And then as they both, kind of like a cartoon, you remember back in the old days where both the horse and the person riding the horse, their eyes would get real big and look down at the horse, you know, what was going on. And sure enough, that rattler looked back and showed his fangs and started to, like it was going to strike maybe. That horse took off like a rocket. And it's going really fast as it can go right up that hill to the point that it's about 10 yards away as it's going up the hill. And all this time now, let me start over. This farmer, he didn't wear a parachute that day, just so you know. But anyhow, as they're heading up this hill as fast as it can go, he started forgetting how to get it to stop. He's yelling, whoa, stop, please. And sure enough, about 10 yards before they hit the edge of that cliff that he thought for sure he was going to go over the cliff, it fell and dawned on him to say the word Moses. So he yells out, Moses! And sure enough, that horse stopped right at the edge of the cliff, had all four paws sitting right up there with him. And of course, he leaned back and looked up to give praise to heaven. He said, praise the Lord! And that horse just jumped. I know some of you got that. If you didn't, don't worry. But that's one that stuck with me. And I just want you to know we do have a little bit of a funny bone as coaches as well.
Well, you know, that you have to appreciate funny bone because, you know, one of the things I was going to ask Chris is that, you know, regardless, you heard Rex break down all the different levels of football in Arkansas, from Power 5 and the SEC Conference to NAIA, Division III, historically black colleges, all. It's a business now. You made a decision to move on from Doc Gamble, talk about maybe the difficulty there, but the economics of it and the things that you deal with, even at this level, and maybe not be, you know, have the $100 million budget at Arkansas, but you deal with the same things in Pine Bluff.
Yeah, and again, David, and thank you for that question too. But before we get into that, I'm going to get in trouble. My family, please stand. I know I didn't do it. I stand up. Come on. Kim, let me see you. Kim, Hall of Famer this year. My son's graduated. My other son, Christopher, coaching at Episcopal here right now. So excited about that. But again, David, as you mentioned, it is a business. But when it's all said and done, the reason we do what we do is because of the students. And every day we come to work to make the decision what's going to be best for our students that we have, and that's our driving force. So every decision that's made It's beginning with the end in mind. It's going to benefit the students. That's what we're going to do. And it's that simple.
Deion Sanders has brought a lot of attention, obviously Jackson State, for historically black colleges. What do you think about his time, how long he's going to be there? Positive for the conference or for the division? Yes, no, and any negatives?
I think he's brought a lot of attention, correct. And I know in particular that what he's doing would just shine the light on what's been taking place. I know he's brought in Travis, the #1 recruit in the nation. I tried to get Jamarcus Russell when I was coaching, but I didn't do that. But he was able to go get it. When I came in, I think my freshman year at UAPB, we had 7 guys go pro. So we've had the talent here, but he's brought a lot of attention to what's going on and brought about an awareness. And I think it's a perfect storm with all the things going on within in the nation. And with his timing, going to Jackson was no mistake. They had 4 Hall of Famers in the NFL, and they had perfect location for people to get to, 60,000 seat stadium. I think it was a perfect storm for what he's done, and he's brought a lot of attention to coaches of this caliber that we have here, right here within the conference.
Coach, you mentioned, I was looking at some of the, Coach, just go ahead, Lola, since you're sitting out there. You were a wide receiver at Miami of Ohio, and for those of you does anybody know I know you do, the saying for Miami of Ohio, what it's known for? Does anybody know? It's called what? It's the cradle of coaches. You think about Eric Parsegian, Sid Gillum, and then Bo Schembechler.
Correct.
It was, and you became a head coach at Miami of Ohio. Gone on to, Michigan State. You've been at Cincinnati. You've been at the highest level of power football in America. What's different about being at UAPB for those out here that may not know?
I think there's probably more of a common thread than there are much differences. I would say this, at the end of the day, and A.D. Robinson and myself have shared this together, that we both find great joy in serving student athletes. And that's a common thread that it doesn't matter if you're at a Power 5 where the budget is pretty large, or whether you're at a smaller school, and I've been at all in between. The common thread that is so unique is the quality of people that you get involved with. And I can tell you this, in my 2 short years here, down in Pine Bluff, I know that there's a very special university there that just loves their Golden Lions football program, and it's just been a privilege for me to enjoy that during this time that I've been here.
Yeah, Chris, it is the thing about football, it is a numbers game. You've got to crunch budgets. Talk about where maybe UAPB was a few years ago and where they are now.
Well, of course, again, you mentioned with Deion coming in, bringing a light on things, that we were able to, during the pandemic, we were able to, and Coach Treadwell was the offensive coordinator, we went to the SWAC championship. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but we brought a lot of attention to the table and recruited some good kids as well. We're hoping to get back in Arkansas and rebuild that relationship here and showcase more of our talent right here at home as well. But with where we've been to the SWAC championship 3 times in the last 15 years. And a lot of people don't know that. So it's like based on, a budget has a lot to do with it as well, to where we get kind of up and down roller coaster. But our goal is to create that stability to where we're not just winning every now and then, but we're consistently the talk of the town, the talk of the conference, the talk of the state, talk of the nation. And that's our goal.
What did you think of the Arkansas UAPB game last year at War Memorial? It seemed like everybody that was there thought it was something that was long overdue, and just your reflections on that game.
I think everything was great but the score. Everything was outstanding. But again, kudos to A.D. Yurchek and Kevin training those guys for showing their leadership. And I thank you, Ron, for posing that question, and a visionary. But I think it was outstanding, and I think that led to things tonight. Again, with the Razorbacks coming to UAPB. We've gone up for a couple years, and now they're coming to us. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's exciting that the Razorbacks, they were here in this hotel. The women's basketball team stayed here, and it's going to fill up your arena. And I thought this, as a former player from Florida, I never understood it. I grew up where Florida State played Florida, played Miami. We all played each other. That's the way you did it, Auburn, Alabama. And that was the way Coach Broyles did it. But I do think there's value. Look at what happened in Fayetteville this weekend. We paid Liberty $1.5 million to come in and beat us. And
so we need to go to Fayetteville to get that.
Yeah. Are there future talks of games, and when might that be?
Yes, we actually play Razorbacks again on 24. We'll play them 2024.
24.
Yep.
Coach, so it's not easy being an interim coach. You've had that interim tag before. What do you do? What's sort of the role you have to play? Everybody knows you. Obviously, your players know you. But do you change what you've got? Is it a radical change? What's been happening with the team this year when you've taken over?
Well, I think what we've tried to do, myself and staff together, is just help the young men have a focus. And we've tried to coin a simple phrase, and that is, we want our football program to finish strong. And I know finish strong is a large umbrella, and there's a lot of things within that. So to us, in a way to finish strong, the word answered many times is, how do you finish strong? And I borrowed the phrase from a great legendary NFL coach of the Steelers, Chuck Noll, and he said, after interviewed many times, how do you guys continue to win Super Bowls? And he says, our team just finds a way to do the little things better. And so I shared with our team when the change occurred that, men, the way we're going to finish strong is we're going to do the little things great. And that's been our focus as we move forward.
Now, not to be negative or anything, or to go to a place but maybe that you don't want to go, Chris, but you were recruited by Archie Cooley, right?
That's correct.
So how many remember Archie Cooley? We all do. And Archie Cooley also coached Jerry Rice, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Yep.
So it was your freshman year. What was it like? What was Archie Cooley back in that year you played?
I think what Dion is doing now for the conference and the nation is what Archie Cooley did for Pine Bluff in Arkansas during that time. And actually, the reason I played quarterback. I'm from Mobile, and I was being recruited by several schools, some Power Fives, but I watched Jerry Rice become the MVP of the Super Bowl. And they put the camera on Coach Cooley, and I said, I'll be the next Jerry Rice. When I got here, they said I was too slow. I told them they were crazy. But needless to say, I came to Pine Bluff for Archie Cooley, and again, we played, had several guys go on to do some great things, still doing some good things now, and he's made a great contribution to football, West Coast offense, and all the things he's done within college, and enjoyed my time here with him.
What's interesting, though, and you left, obviously, and came back after whatever the time period of no football. That was an interesting decision for you to come back.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go. First year, Chancellor Davis, at the time, he wanted to honor our scholarship, although football was canceled. They canceled the program, but I was here. Hey, I came here to be a student, so I'm going to stay here and be a student. Then the school elected to stay out another year, and I had other schools recruiting me during that time, and so I said, no, I want to play some football. So I ended up going, played at Southern University, sustained a couple injuries, but then they started the program back here. And I was set at Southern. I was 2 hours from Mobile, and the newspaper said I came back because of Kim. But it got me some points. And that's how you could see the track star here at UAPB. But I had the opportunity to come back to Pine Bluff. I had 2 years to graduate at Southern and 1 year to play. But I came back to UAPB. I had 1 year to graduate and 2 years to play. So I came back, graduated, got some graduate courses. Of course, we went to the championship. Yeah.
Coach, I was looking at your list, and speaking of Lola out there, so this is the order. I want everybody to hear real life of a coach. 1986 to 91, Youngstown State offensive coordinator. 92 to 93, Miami of Ohio. 94, Cincinnati. 95, 96, Stanford. 97, 98, Boston College. 99, North Carolina State. 2000, 2002, Michigan State. 2003, Ball State. 2004, 2006, Cincinnati. 2007, 2010, Michigan State. Miami of Ohio, you became the head coach. 2011, 2013. 2014, Kent State. 2018, back at Michigan State. And now at Arkansas Pine Bluff. God bless you, Lola. That is talk about the toll. I mean, she's sitting out there. I mean, you get a chance to really get some brownie points in front of everybody by telling her what an amazing wife and mother she is. The challenge of moving that many times.
Yes, we've certainly had a road less traveled, so to speak, but it's not uncommon to coaches to travel that road. But I can certainly just share this, and Lola's heard me say this many times. When you're blessed with a great partner in marriage, every time we made a move, from the time the kids were very young, where they may not have quite understood it, one thing that she said always resonated with me. Every time we moved, she always told the kids, Dad just got a brand new job, and it's going to be a great new adventure. And I tell you what, we were blessed that when that first move happened, thank you, honey. When that first move happened, it ended up being a great adventure. So from that point on, every time we were to move, she would say that statement, but the kids were already anticipating this is going to be a great new adventure. And I've just been blessed to have a partner like that for 33 years now.
One more round of applause for Lola. I was going to ask each of you, you talk about influencing the young men that you're around. Who was your biggest influence, both of you?
A lot. My mother, I would say my mom was my biggest influence. She worked tirelessly, several jobs. We had seven of us total, but it didn't matter to her. She made it happen, regardless.
You know, certainly you have to acknowledge your parents. There's no question about that. They are the backbone and foundation. I think one thing for me, though, on top of that, because we serve such a great profession, and I said that earlier today, many coaches touched my life. That's why I'm a coach today, because I was blessed to have coaches that, let's put it this way, they were more focused on building from the inside out and not just what kind of score can we put on, on game day. So just to name a few, because I've been blessed with many, but I started early with a man by the name of Jim Tressel that many of you may have heard of from Youngstown State and Ohio State. Also early in my career, a gentleman by the name of Tyrone Willingham, head coach at Stanford, where I was an assistant with him there. He went on to coach at Notre Dame in Washington. And then, of course, before I joined UAPB, I was fortunate to be with Mark D'Antonio. Those are just to name a three off the top that really influenced my life in a positive way.
Since you've been at so many stops, what do you think about the dynamic of the Razorbacks and how can this state support other schools while also supporting the flagship university?
Well, I think each state is unique to itself, and I've only been here a short time, but boy, I tell you what, as A.D. Robinson alluded to, there's enough talent to go around in this state, number one, to supply all of our football teams. And I just think being on the same page and being connected in a proud manner to represent your state goes a long way. And we've got great leadership to know how to do that in A.D. Robinson.
We'll say Chris Peterson, who's been a long time, obviously supported this club, was very complimentary of you and said he probably would not have taken that role as the AD at UAPB if he didn't know that you were waiting there in the wings, or a possibility of you being able to follow him.
Yeah, I think Chris Peterson, you can't even put into words the impact he's made on so many people, including myself, my kids, my family, and others that I've met throughout. Is his wife Tracy going out there? She's got books out there that's helping people with dyslexia. You think about the impact, not only what he makes, but his wife does the same thing as well. But Chris Peterson is I can't even put it into words, David. He really does a lot that a lot of people don't know about. He connects people and makes a lot of things happen. And he'll just stay in the wings and sit back.
Well, when we booked this at the beginning of the year, we did not know there was a possibility of this changing. Obviously, with Doc being gone, I know he's obviously a good friend of yours. You followed him from Kent State, but I do think I do like the dynamic that you guys are back. I think you understand the value of UAPB showing up in other places besides Pine Bluff.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And so I don't know, Ron, if it took 10 years, but we're not going to wait that long for that to happen. Coach, we want to wish you the best the rest of the year and say thank you for what you're doing in the lives of young people for a long time. I mean, that's a pretty powerful commitment to young people, and I know you've done a great job. And, Chris, we're excited about what's happening with UAPB and all the representatives of the college. We're very honored to have you here. And, listen, I'll call the Hogs 1,000 times, but let me tell you, when there's an Arkansas team playing, I don't care if it's UAPB, OBU, we're rooting for them to win. So let's give it up for these two guys. Great job, Chris. Great job, Don. Thank you, everybody. Great job.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being with us, man. Thanks for all you're doing.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Dad.
Good job.
I appreciate that. All right, Chris. Take care. You see you, bud. All right, you too now.
Governor?
You too, bud.
You got my tickets, or do I need to? I got to pass it.
What you gonna do? You're gonna have your name at the back. The back of the hyper.
Yeah.
The parking area. Your name's on the list right there.
Okay, good. Great job.
Check. If anybody wants pictures with Coach and Chris, come on up. We'll get them. Anybody who wants Coach's picture with Coach or Chris, come on up. Coach, hop back right in there.